Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Friday, January 31st, and the energies in the day adds up, reduced to number 5 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to today's energy, today is the last day of January. I feel like the time, I sound like a broken record at this point. Of course, you know, the time is going fast, but I remember in one of the videos that I said for 2025, we've always felt, most of us have always felt like the time has sped up. For me, I noticed it was quite obvious to me, I think in 2021, and I feel like things are gonna get even faster. But as I got to today, I found like my breath felt a little bit more shallow, and even maybe a shift within the heartbeat. So what I'm getting when it comes to today's energy is something about hurrying up. A lot of you might have some deadlines to meet today, and you find yourself hurrying up or anticipating. So it just feels like an anticipating energy, whether I'm anticipating meeting this deadline or I'm anticipating this thing going my way. There's something that I'm anticipating, and also maybe something is required of me based on how the energies feel. Like I need to hurry up when it comes to something. But I also feel when it comes to this energy, we could start out the day with a list of things that needs to get done, but along the way, get distracted by things that aren't that important. But it's a matter of thinking, okay, I'm just going to give this 2 minutes. And before you know it, 2 minutes where you stopped off and entertained this thing, 2 minutes all of a sudden turned to 2 hours. And that brings me to that part of today's energy where there could be this thing within today's energy that feels like time lapse. Like, it's like, where did the time go? It's like something about the time and it just moving very quickly, especially when I look at the combination of two things. The combination of the moon in Pisces and also the energies of the day adding up to the number 5 vibration. But with the day being the 31, 3 plus 1 is 4. That energy is going to want us to be a little bit more structured, but the 3 is going to want us to have a little bit of fun in the process of getting structured things done. The number 5 is going to overpromise and end up under delivering, not intentionally, but it put too much on its plate. It took on too much responsibility. And with the moon in Pisces, we're just daydreaming and having a good time along the way. What really helps though is the fact that Saturn conjuncts the moon in Pisces. So Saturn will help us to have some boundaries when it comes to our inner world and our inner conversation. Boundaries that aren't normally there if you take Saturn away out of the equation and just leave the moon alone in Pisces. Because with the moon in Pisces on its own, the moon is our inner world and our inner conversation. And when it comes to the inner world and the inner conversation, it's nurtured by time alone, time escaping. Like my moon is within the 12th house, and you know, that's strong Pisces energy. And with my moon in that space, I am nurtured at the thought of spending time alone off in my own imagination. And from doing that, sometimes it's easy to not necessarily lose track of time, but like I start off focusing on something, and if I'm really enjoying it, I look up and the time just goes like this. And I feel like this could be that similar energy for a lot of us today. You look down and then you look back up and time just goes like that. But like I said, with Saturn there, Saturn energy being there definitely brings some boundaries that's not normally there. When it comes to the spirit guidance, and also too with the moon and with the moon where it is, it brings me to escapism energy, also tied with the number 5 energy. So with the energies in the day adding up to the number 5 vibration and the moon there, big time escaping energy. And how do you escape? But again, with Saturn being there, Saturn creates those boundaries. And with the moon conjunct Saturn squaring Jupiter in Gemini, yes, we could find ourselves in situations wanting to escape, but a lot of us won't fall for the old things that will pull us into the spiral, this downward spiral behavior of escaping reality. And it could be something simple where something didn't go your way, or you're frustrated, or you're overwhelmed, or just anticipating something. And from the anticipation, we want to numb ourselves, whether it's food, social media, however a person chooses to escape. So things don't feel as intense. But I feel like with the square to Jupiter and Gemini bringing in context, we're seeing how this way of doing just doesn't work. So that's the thing that I like about challenging aspects, where challenging aspects for me makes things uncomfortable. And from that from things being uncomfortable, you're forced to see a thing for what it is, where it's so easy to overlook when everything is smooth sailing and going so well. So we have the raccoon energy come out in the reversal position. So with the raccoon energy come out in the reversal position, in the upright position, as you can see, the raccoon, it looks like it's hiding in the shadows. It's, peeking from behind something. It's not being seen. In the reversal position, though, as spirit guidance for the day, it brings me to stepping out of the shadow when it comes to something. But I don't necessarily feel that it's saying we need to step out of the shadow when it comes to something today. It brings me to the thought of something being exposed or something being presented. I think of like unexpectedly something that was under the cover is now revealed to you. It's like unexpectedly something was revealed, but this thing that may be revealed to some of us unexpectedly, it wasn't unexpected. It's like intuitively you always knew. So with today's energy, especially with Moon and Pisces, because for me, Moon and Pisces, Moon and 12th house energy, Neptune conjunct the Moon, that's a very dreamy energy. That energy has a lot to do with dreams, whether we're dreaming in other realms, dimensions, about here, whatnot. So with where the moon is, it brings me to the thought of someone waking up from a dream today about something. And then the thing plays out in their real world. And it's like, oh my goodness, I saw this in my dream. Or based on what they saw in the dream, or maybe their premonition or intuition encouraged them to make a move or do something that they normally wouldn't do, but they just allowed themselves to just go with it. And then something is revealed, something unfolds in front of them. And it's like, damn, I felt like something wasn't right, but I didn't know for sure. And I felt the feeling and I just went with it. So that's something when it comes to today's energy. To me, it's like telepathically, intuitively, getting this knowing when it comes to something. It's like, I just knew. I don't know how I know. Don't ask me how I know. I just know. And then all of a sudden, things are being presented in front of me, but I just knew it. So when it comes to today's energy about something, some of us are going to be saying, I knew it. I knew it. I just knew it. I get, that's something some of us are saying today about something that is revealed. You had the feeling, but you didn't, the physicality of it didn't present itself yet, and it's presenting itself today for some of us. We have the Page of Cups in the reversal position. So with the Page of Cups in the reversal position coming out in the upright position, to me, this page will reflect getting that premonition. But in the reversal position, it would bring me to not trusting it. So, what I just said might be for some people where it's like something is presented and you don't trust it. But I personally believe it's a matter of not wanting to trust it because of what will be required of you to trust it. That's the thing that comes to mind today. I think of, say, someone journaling today, and they might find themselves feeling confused about something. And they might write out what it is that they're confused about. And then they might ask themselves, when it comes to this thing that I'm confused about, what do I know must be done? And what am I afraid of when it comes to this thing that has to be done? It could be someone feels confused whether they should stay or go pertaining to a thing. And they're only confused because they know they should go. And going is going to mean that they're going to have to go out into the world, into the unknown, and that is terrifying. So, someone might write, I am confused about, blah, 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 whether I should come or go. What terrifies me about coming and what terrifies me about staying. And when they write out the pros and the cons of what's scary about staying and what's scary about going, at least, you'll see what it is that you're dealing with and see possibly how the mind is actually trying to protect you by keeping you away from these terrifying things, because it's the mind's job to help you to survive. The mind is programmed for survival, and survival will mean to keep you away from those scary things that feels like death where the mind is concerned, when really, when we take a step back, these things aren't really that serious, but where the mind is concerned, these things are terrifying. So with the Page of Cups energy, I get the thought of something being presented to a person. And even though what's being presented to them and it's clear as day, it's like they're refusing to see what their own intuition is showing them. And a lot of the times we refuse to see what our own intuition is showing us, because if we accept it, what will it mean about us to no longer be a part of this group? What will it mean about us to no longer live there? What will it mean about us to no longer being in this relationship? What would it mean about us to not have that friendship? So a lot of times, our intuition makes things clear as day, and we don't want to see what our intuition is showing us, because we might be losing something. Like, I know for me personally, I used to go through that a lot, but after experiencing the pain that I would go through from not listening to my intuition, like, I just learned. It's like touching the stove, and eventually you touched it one good time, and the burnt that you're left with leaves such a bad scar, to the point that every time you look down at that scar, you remember touching that stove, and you don't make that mistake anymore. Where for me, my intuition would show me things about people, about situations, and I wouldn't want to see it, because accepting what my intuition would show me means that my dream is being killed. When I say a dream is being killed, I might have an image for myself. I might have a vision for myself based on society's influence. And in my mind, this thing or the next would complete me. So because this thing or the next would complete me, of course, I don't want to hear my intuition telling me that I can't have this thing, or I should separate myself from this thing. This thing would complete me. I need to be completed. And of course, I would push in anyways, disregard my intuition, and just end up with a really nasty deal. And after a while, I learned to trust it. Or what would happen for me is my intuition is so clear as day, and while I'm awake, leave this or that alone. But then I'll go to sleep and I'll have a dream about it. And once I have the dream about it, like, I can't play pretend. So it's like when my intuition wants to really drive in something, intuitively in my awaken, while I'm awake, I might pick up, but then I'll always question, am I picking up on something, or I want something to be a certain way, so I'm projecting into my intuition and thinking this is intuition. But then when I go to sleep and dream about it and see certain things, I can't unsee what it is that I just saw. And there's no more back and forth between me and myself, whether, this thing is good for me or not, because the dream world has already delivered, hands down, I gotta go with it. Let's pause for a bit. I am proud of the services that I offer and excited to tell you about them. If it would be your first time booking with me, then I recommend the natal chart and numerology awareness coaching session. For a while, that was the only service I offered, along with the 30-minute tarot reading, which is still available if you're interested. I noticed the pattern. At the end of the natal chart and numerology coaching sessions, some of you would ask me for a follow-up service options for additional clarity and guidance to assist you with whatever you're going through at the moment. I kept saying, I'll look into it. I don't know why it took me so long. Finally, I have created that option along with the service option to book a solar return chart reading for those of you who are strategic and like to plan ahead. Everything you need to know is within the description box below. Let's get back into the video. So when it comes to today's energy, it brings me to something being revealed. But even though this thing is revealed, there's a part of you that's still trying to talk yourself out of what it is that you've seen or what it is that you've experienced. And I feel like in today's day, when it comes to, say, marketing through marketing, when it comes to the media where news and things are concerned, I think it's interesting how they really are trying to convince us not to trust what it is that we see with our eyes, but instead listen to them. So it could be one of those situations where your intuition is telling you clear as day, this is what it is, but someone or something is trying to get you to not trust what it is that you know for sure based on what it is that you're experiencing within you, and instead listen to them instead. So yeah, when it comes to today's energy, big time energy when it comes to trusting your intuition. Also too, when it comes to today's energy, and I look at the positive aspect that trine happening between Pisces and Cancer, Mars in retrograde in Cancer, speaking to Saturn, the moon, and Venus in Pisces. When I look at that aspect, I think of how when it comes to certain things, sheer comfort and laziness might cause us to act like we don't know something is what it is because we don't feel like putting out the extra energy to do what needs to be done, not wanting to get out of our comfort space when it comes to something. And I say laziness, not calling anybody here lazy, because when it comes to Mars in retrograde in Cancer, boy, have like the days for me go by even more faster because there's more procrastination within it, as I seem to move so much slower when it comes to getting things done. And it just requires more energy and effort to get started when it comes to things, because, you know, with Mars where it is, it's almost as if like the motivation, the fuel it's like running underwater. Like some of us could even feel like our iron levels are super low, and maybe they could be, where it's like something about the gravitational pulls of the energy really bring us through things, like things really be happening within us as we're exposed to the different shift within frequency, reflecting the planets and where they are and how they're speaking to each other as far as degrees are concerned. But yeah, when it comes to today's energy, things are being presented, but it might be hard to see it for a lot of reasons. Hard to see it because what you know is expected of you if you see it, or what it is that you might have to do if you see it, or accept some truth for what it is. And it could be something as simple or minor as you knowing that you're ready for some kind of a change career-wise, or simple or minor as you know, some simpler or minor as you knowing you're ready for some form of change, but at the same time questioning if you're really ready for that change, because the thought of maybe the work might be overwhelming. Because I feel like until April, when this transit, when Mars get the heck up out of Cancer and get on about its business, if something requires a lot of work for most of us, there is going to be a bigger part of us that's going to say, hell no, we won't go, because it already feels like there's not enough energy to do the things that are already required. So it's like adding extra to my plate. What? Of course not. So yeah, when it comes to today's energy brings me to journaling about, say, your options when it comes to something. If you're trying to make a decision and you have multiple options, journal out your options and journal about, what concerns you have when it comes to both of those. So you could just become aware of that. And also too, when it comes to today's energy, you want to be even more disciplined with yourself when it comes to your time. Because today is one of those days where we could play hermit and go inside ourselves and just never come back out, or come back out at a time where like things are piling up because we missed a lot. And going within ourselves could look like, someone getting on social media and start scrolling, getting on YouTube and start scrolling, escaping however a person escapes. It just feels like it's easy for time lapse to happen today. And time lapse happen because, we might take a second to focus on something, and before you know it, a lot of time has gone by. The things that needed to get done are now piled up and have to add to tomorrow's load. And tomorrow you're probably not going to feel like it either. So yeah, challenge yourself today to do what needs to be done. It was a pleasure sharing this message with you. Before you go anywhere, please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a blue heart in the comment box below. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.